And we'll continue with The House Like a Lotus by Madeleine L'Engle. I did not see Max in the morning after Ursula bound my cut foot and made me spend the night at Boulaire. I woke around 5, dressed, and slipped out of the house. But I no longer wanted to go home. It was cool before the sun was up. Little webs of dew sparkled on the grass, which was kept green by constant sprinkling. I walked slowly down the drive because my cut foot hurt, and because the crushed shells crunched noisily. Ursula, I knew, got up early, so I walked carefully, as though that would keep her from looking out of a window and seeing me. I was fleetingly grateful that her window, like Max's, faced the ocean, and not the front of the house with the gardens and the long curving drive. And even if Nettie and Ovid were already in the kitchen, that too faced the water. The drive wound around until the house was no longer visible. It seemed miles until I got to the road with its smoother surface. I turned and headed toward Mulletville and the causeway. How was I ever going to make it with my cut foot? Periodically, I stopped and sat at the side of the road until I had the energy to move on. I did not want anybody in Mulletville to see me, but only the fishermen would be up, and they wouldn't care. The development people would all still be in bed. I heard a car behind me and stepped to the side of the road. The car slowed and someone called out, "Hey, hon, want a ride? Look as if you could use one." It was a boy from Mulletville who went to Cowpertown High called Straw because of his sun-bleached hair and his stubby, almost white lashes. He went with a rough crowd, kids who smoked and drank a lot. Why on earth was he up and out so early? He was older than I was. I think he had to repeat a couple of years. I'd never seen him. I'd never had much to do with him, and didn't want to see him now, and I hoped he wouldn't recognize me, but he did. "Hey, aren't you Kate's sister?" "Kate's my cousin," I said. "So what's your name, Kate's cousin?" "Polly." "Where are you coming from?" "I'm going," I said, "to Cowpertown." "Yar!" He lit a cigarette and dangled it in the corner of his mouth. "To the M.A. Horn Hospital. I cut my foot, and I have a friend there who's an intern. He'll fix it for me." You sure look haggard out. Hop in, I'll drive you into Cowpertown. As far as Lenoir Street, and maybe you can get another hitch from there. I have a Saturday job at Dyceman's Diner. So I can't take you any further. I'll be sacked if I'm not there in time for the breakfast crowd. So that's why he was up. I got in beside him. I had no choice. I hoped he'd go on enjoying the sound of his own voice. He was, I was pretty sure, one of the guys who'd killed the tortoise, but I needed the ride into Cowpertown. I'd never make it on foot. "Kate sure is pretty," he said. After a pause, I agreed. "Yeah." "You don't look like her." He flicked the ashes out the window. "We can't all be that lucky," I said. He looked at me instead of at the road. "Hey, how'd you cut your foot?" He glanced down. The cut had broken open. The blood was seeping through the bandage. It probably looked a lot worse than it was. "On a shell," I said, "a broken shell." "Why, you poor little thing." He took his hand off the steering wheel and patted my thigh. "Hurt much?" "Some." I'd just as soon he kept his hands on the wheel and his attention on the road. "I got a first aid kit. Want me to fix it up for you?" "No, thanks. My friend at the hospital will take care of it." His hand reached for my thigh again, rhythmically patting. I stood it for as long as I could, then pulled away. "What's the matter?" His hand came down hard and I winced. "I told you my foot hurts." "Why don't you let me make it feel better?" He tossed his cigarette out the window. "It's my foot that hurts, not my thigh." "You don't like straw, huh?" I remembered his face, full of lust for killing as he battered the tortoise. No, I didn't like him. "I don't know you very well." "Well, now," he drawled, "maybe Kate's right after all." "About what?" I should have kept my mouth shut. "You." If I knew one thing, it was Kate hadn't talked to Straw about me. He'd never been one of her dates. He'd never come home with her for dinner. He wasn't her type, but he came from Mulletville, and he dated Mulletville girls. I pushed away from him as far as possible. "So what's Kate's cousin doing at this end of the island?" I didn't answer. "You've been at Boulaire, haven't you?" I looked down at the blood drying rustily on Ursula's bandage. "We all know what those dames at Boulaire. We know all about those dames at Boulaire and what they do. You've been with them. You're like the way they are." And that's why you don't like me. Let me out, I said. He jammed on the brake, throwing me forward. You really want to get out? Yes. Don't have an attack. I'll get you to Lenoir Street. He stepped on the gas pedal and his hand came at me again and I pulled away. What's the matter, honey? You really don't like straw? What arrogance. This guy thought every girl in school was after him. You like dames, is that it? Can't make it with a guy? I shut my eyes, clamped my lips closed. He kept his foot on the gas pedal. The car rocked as he whizzed around a curve with a screech of tires. I didn't care if it turned over. I opened my eyes as I felt the car slow down and we drove through the outskirts of Cowpertown, then on to Lenoir Street with its post office and banks and stores. Again he slammed on the brakes. Here we are. Thanks. I feel real sorry for Kate. She's a nice girl. I opened the door and jumped out, and the pain shot sharply through my foot, through my body into my head, sending yellow flashes across my eyes. Straw drove off with another rubber-smelling screech. I was still a long way from M.A. Horn, which was at the farther end of Lenoir Street, a good 3 or 4 miles, too far to walk on a bleeding foot. I stumbled along, not knowing what to do, until I saw a phone booth. I would call Rennie, and we'll pause there.